The second place we have to look very, very carefully is Jordan. We do enjoy peace with Jordan. Once again, not 100% kind of peace that we want, but quite stable and once again, a peace that a lot of benefits for both sides. We have the longest border of Israel with Jordan. And I cannot see something that will change the need, the security needs of Israel more than having this long border behaving in the way that the Gaza Strip border is behaving. It's a substantial and important change if Jordan will become hostile. We have to be aware of the tendency to export the problem to Israel. This was the way Arab dictators behaved many, many years. We were very pleased that in Tahrir Square, both in the demonstrators and the military and the leaders, none of them point to Israel as the source of the problem. This is not the case with Bashar's speech this morning, but once again, words, we get used to words. We have to be aware that exporting the problem will be in a more kinetic kind of export, and Hezbollah, Hamas, Syria, and Iran may decide that this is the time to divert attention to Israel. The last slightly paranoid point is chaos. Chaos is a state in a couple of states in the Middle East. There is the Pakistani chaos, there used to be an Arafat chaos, and with all our assessment of this kind of regime or another kind of regime, the chaos that was in Iraq 2004, 2005 can be a model for Libya, for Yemen, and for other countries. So once again, as long as this is in Yemen, from Israeli perspective, we can live with it. If this is in Syria, and the missiles and the chemical weapon is gone to some faction or terrorist, it's become a serious issue that we have to look at. I want to conclude my briefing about implication of what is going around to Israel. And this is the time to say that I am now not in official position. I basically conclude 5 years of looking at our neighbors, even though the insights that we collect and the analysis, assumption, and prediction were the base for policy. I am not in intelligence now and not in policy, but I will try to make some points about guidelines that should help Israel to survive in its tough neighborhood. I think, unlike many cases, that I personally recommend a proactive policy. In this case, it would not be a mistake to be passively strategizing. No intervention, not interfering, keep quiet, and let the Arab world deal with its own problems. Israel should not be there. We must be very careful, even more careful than we were in the last 5 years, in our response to provocation. It will not be wise to play into the hands of those who want to divert the attention from the real problem of our world, the real problems to Israel. But there is a line of provocations that you have to react, and once again, what kind of reaction should be calculated very carefully according to the what's going on around. We must plan for the long term. There must be some shift in resources towards defense. I already said we are not going back to the 70s, when 25% of our budget, of our GDP was devoted to defense, because 25% of GDP caused 500% of inflation. But we have to prepare the long-term investments that will be needed if the worst-case scenarios will develop. If we will reach a negotiation table and we will discuss security arrangement, the events that we are seeing now should be taken into consideration. A change of regime, a change of political balance should be a possibility that the future defense arrangement of Israel should be taken into consideration. In conclusion, there are sometimes more Q's than A's. I try to be balanced. We understand that some regimes and rulers are gone, but almost all the problems of the Middle East remain. So we have to cope with them. And once again, from Israel perspective, Iran is the most important. With all is happening in Tunisia and Egypt and Syria, Iran stay and continue to be the most important and challenging issues that Israel will have to deal with the winds of change, and without if the winds will not change anything. Thank you very much for listening.